fast as I can. Can you give us an update, please, Lonnie, on the latest, greatest? Who's got to spend what? Who's going to be in the front? What's 2.0 change? Or go through 1.0 change and then the 2.0 change that got made before that 1.0 even made it to the racetrack.
So let's talk about 1.0. July the 7th, we released a rule set that this was post Norwalk. It was 10% effective to the screw blower, so we reduced the overdrive from 75 to 65% for the screw blower. We looked at Roots across the board, knowing that Roots was going to need some help. We gave them a 25-pound deduction across the board. And then there was Pro Charger as a yearly incremental, as some information from Norwalk that still had some positivity to it. We looked at making a 500 RPM reduction, which they have a 10,000 RPM limit. We looked at making and posted a 500 RPM reduction in that RPM, so it would be 9,500. Let's move to 2.0. Pro Mod Advisory Council is a group of people that are across all power adders in the category. They are the spokesperson for their power adder. There are 6 people within that group as well. They work with NHRA on a number of different items, including parity. Usually we take our idea to them, we present it, they spitball through it, whether we spend an hour or 2 on the phone, and then we leave there with them knowing what it is that is our intention. We talk through if it needs to be adjusted with that particular adjustment. July 7th, there was not a lot of input. I know it was kind of laid in their lap pretty quickly, and we left that meeting really in agreement that this was not the perfect, but it was a decent direction to head. And we had data to support that change. The Pro Mod Advisory Council got together, as well as with all the team owners, everybody that was pulling money out of their pocket to race this category, all got together and got on a call, talked amongst themselves, then asked us if we would reconvene on a call with them late last week, which we did. We walked through the 1.0 changes, and they said they had some input they wanted us to give us and talk about a different direction, which ended up being 2.0. So we came to the agreement across the board with those guys that the 2.0 version is as follows. Screw supercharger still will receive a 10% reduction from 75 to 65 overdrive. The 4.9 bore space Roots supercharger will remain at 2640 and will remain at 14.5% overdrive. The 4.8 bore space Roots supercharger, which is anything less than 4.9, will also remain at 2,640 pounds with no weight change, but will receive 2% and move to 16.5 overdrive. The nitrous, both the 903 and the 959, will receive 25 pounds off reduction. So that puts the 903 combination at 2515 and the 959 at 2545. Again, when we look at this, we look at it as a good compromise that is more of a positive direction to get parity within the category and less of a much deeper pocketbook direction of 1.0. So nonetheless, we have made the adjustment. We're good and solid with the adjustment. We've applied the adjustment in theory to the data, and the data looks like it's going to be good when we get to Topeka, and when we crown a winner at Topeka. We think it'll be the person that's done the best job at that particular event. We'll look forward to moving to Brainerd with the D-Wagon shootout, and then on to Indy.
So the one thing I picked up out of that was that the 25-pound, oh, I picked up a lot, but the one thing that pricked my ears up was the 25-pound weight advantage that the Roots Supercharger was going to get is neither the 4.8 nor the 4.9 are going to retain that. Is that correct?
That's correct. So take the July 7th announcement and call it rescinded.
Okay.
So,
and all you've done in replacement is given the 4.8 another 2% overdrive.
That's correct.
So if I'm a 4.9 Roots guy, I'm no better off than I was 3 weeks ago.
You're racing, and if you go back and look at that data, if you go back and look at those runs, you have to improve the 4.9 combination down low on the bottom part of the racetrack or the front half. If you make any improvements in the front half, it runs in there decently close to within a couple hundredths of what Stevie's blast was. Now that particular round, if you go compare it to Pro Stock, that was the best round for Pro Stock. They all went fast. There was 39 water grains. The barometer was high. Now, when we got to Sunday eliminations, it was 100 water grains. And then even worse for the final, because the final got postponed by rain, and the guys had to push up underneath the bleacher, sit there for a while. The racetrack took a little beating in that rain. The conditions changed by the time they rolled them out and put them in the water box. And again, sometimes you know, as a racer, if you'll just leave me alone and let me race, I won't be my own worst enemy. And when you give me time, sometimes I'll make bad choices, and that may have been what we saw with the nitrous car in the final of that event. They made a few adjustments right before they pushed it out from underneath the bleachers for that final round, and that adjustment may not have been in their favor. Okay,
all right. Well, thank you so much for your lines there, giving us some clarity on what 2.0 looks like. So 1.0 never made it to the water box. So 2.0, I think we'll all be watching with very peeled eyes and bated breath that